everyone, welcome to the Fortress of Solitude podcast. I'm your host, Sergio Pereira, and today I'm going to be discussing something that, everyone is hyped about, and that's Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, first of all, the title No Way Home, I get the whole home, homecoming thing, far from home, no way home, but No Way Home, it really does remind me of, one of those nights out where you attack the bar a little bit too much, and then suddenly you can't find your way home. And that was the first thing that came to mind. I think it's a pretty funny title, but yeah, look, I'm so psyched for this movie, and I think pretty much everyone else who's a comic book movie fan is also super excited for it. Not just because it's like, obviously Spider-Man, one of the biggest characters around, but also just the promise of what this movie is gonna, symbolize and signify going forward, I think, for the MCU and also for the likes of Sony. And that's the whole aspect of embracing the multiverse. And that's something which everyone has been speaking about lately. We've seen DC as well. They're going to be breaking their own multiverse with The Flash, and the fact that there's going to be like different Batman that exist, Batmen that exist across the universe. And I think this is the same sort of thing, with Spider-Man. It's like it's really diving into the whole concept of a multiverse, and it's something which is super exciting, and it's going to open up endless possibilities of storytelling, not just for now, but also in the future, because it kind of means everything is canon at the end of the day, right? It means that whatever's happened before, it can appear, which obviously the possibilities are really, really endless. And I think this is something which we've seen, especially with the trailers for Spider-Man No Way Home, is that it looks like it's going to fully lean into the fact that, the past universes existed, obviously the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. But I'm pretty surprised by how the trailers actually shown us quite a lot, because especially the fact that we saw Doc Ock, I think he's going to be pretty much a lead character in the movie, just judging by the trailers, the lines that he's been given, and the way we've seen it. I have a feeling he's going to be set up as possibly one of the bigger villains, or possibly he could even turn and help Spider-Man. I think that's a possibility we've never considered, because Doc Ock hasn't over time actually helped Spider-Man. Unless we forget, he was the superior Spider-Man as well in the comics. But what is quite interesting to see is all the other villains that have also joined him, from the different multiverses, which is Sandman, Lizard, Electro, and the Green Goblin in particular. And I want to speak about the Green Goblin for a second, because there's been a lot of debate and rumors online about the trailer where there's an image, like a bit of a blurred image, and you see a goblin there, and everyone's been debating which goblin is that. Is it Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin, or is it perhaps James Franco's Green Goblin? Because obviously New Goblin in that case, because there's obviously been a lot of debates about could they also be in it. And I've got a theory here. Just a theory. So run with me for a second here. What if that goblin that we saw, that image, that brief image, is actually Willem Dafoe's new costume for the movie? Because remember, his mask was broken in Spider-Man 1, right? He effectively was broken, and we don't know what sort of timeline they're pulling in from wherever. So, and he could also just want new threads. Come on, that was 2002, if I'm not mistaken. From 2002 to 2021, that's 20 years. You might want a new look. So that could possibly be Willem Dafoe's Goblin's new look versus being an entirely new Goblin. Look, I don't know. I'm speculating. I've got no inside intel here. I'm not going to go ask you to sign up to my Patreon and give me money so I can feed you rumors. So this is purely speculation on my side. So if it's true, great. If it's not, well, don't hate me for it. But obviously, now we need to chat about the elephant in the room. The fact that there might be more than one Spider-Man in this movie. Now, obviously, no one has confirmed anything. There's been a lot of little leaks here and there, and people doctoring photos, and people trying to find clues, and it's been quite fun, to be honest. I think this is what makes being a movie fan such a rewarding experience, is that you engage with the community, you start making up theories, you start discussing things, and I think it's really good. And I think, look, all signs do point to the fact that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire will feature in this movie. The fact that they're villains from the previous movies are here, it means something has to happen. Whether it's archive footage, whether it's actually them showing up to help Tom Holland Spider-Man, something needs to happen. There is going to be a payoff here. We know what Sony's like. We know what Marvel's like. They're not going to just leave us hanging and not deliver on a promise. At the same time, though, I think it's also important to temper our expectations, because I've seen some wild theories online about how different things are going to happen in this movie and in No Way Home with Garfield Spider-Man and Maguire Spider-Man, and how they're going to play crucial roles in this movie. And there's also a possibility that they could just show up in the third act to help him out, that they might not actually have a lot of screen time. And to be fair, I think that is more the realistic possibility than anything else. And it's not because I think that it's the wrong idea or it's a good idea. It makes sense from a storytelling perspective, because Tom Holland is the new Spider-Man. He's established as the lead character. This is his movie at the end of the day. So you need to build up Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It's about his story. You don't need to go recycle everybody else's story. Yes, we've had movies with those characters. If they can show up and they can assist him in a movie, great. But I don't think it's going to be one of those Into the Spider-Verse sort of things where, they kind of, it's almost like a bit of a buddy comedy throughout the whole movie. And then they face the villains. I don't think that's going to be the situation here, which is going to be very interesting, because I'll be interested. It'll be interesting to see what the internet's reaction is going to be to that. Obviously, because so many people have put so much stock in this happening. But again, there's a possibility it might not even happen. I don't know. I'm just saying. I strongly believe we will probably see either of them at some point. But until then, you know what? Let's just be excited. Let's wait for it. I know a lot of people were super mad about the trailer, and they were saying, why didn't they show us Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield? Why wasn't that the last shot of just the two Spider-Man, swinging in and that's it? It ends like that. And I think it's actually good not to show them, to be honest. It's because it's been so much fun. It's just this whole build-up of will they, won't they? It's become a story on its own. And do you really want every single thing in the movie to be spoiled before you go watch it? Does the trailer really need to contain absolutely everything? I don't think so. To be honest, I think a lot of trailers nowadays are very spoilerish. We just get so many spoilers, and by the time you go into the movie, there's no surprise. And I'd love to see what the surprise is here. I'd love to see how, if they do show up, and with the villains, how they actually, the first scenes, how it comes about, to be completely caught off guard. Not one of the situations where it's everything going to movie, and you turn to a person next to you, yeah, this is the part where Doc Ock comes in, this is the part where the lizard comes in, oh yeah, just watch out there, this is what happens. Have some surprises. And I think that's what's really important, is just to let our expectations be high, be excited completely. I agree with that. But don't want everything to be spoiled ahead of the time. It's I don't think it's necessary. So yeah, for me, I think the trailers have been on point. I cannot say that they've been bad at all. I think they've been great. They've got the excitement levels up. I am just interested to see, if there will be any other sort of supporting characters from the Spider-Man universe, from other Spider-Man universes that will be brought in, like the other Aunt Mays, or perhaps even obviously Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy. Those sort of characters also played pivotal parts in those movies. It'll be interesting to see if Sony did manage to bring them back as well, or maybe not. Maybe, we could be asking for a little bit too much there. But it will be interesting to see, like I said, if it does happen. But now, again, there's one more thing that I just want to address about, Spider-Man No Way Home. Something which I think might happen, might not happen. I don't know. But it's something which I think we even wrote about in Fortress not too long ago. The possibility of Miles Morales. Now, Miles has already been teased in the first movie. We know that. He's already been teased. He exists in this universe. We know that he's a big character. Into the Spider-Verse was a huge movie. And he will debut in live action at some point. We know that. And it just makes sense, if we're going to do it now. Because now with all this world building happening in his multiverse and stuff like that, there's an opportunity to showcase a younger character, somebody we can see the story and everything happening through his eyes. Wouldn't it be great to see somebody like Miles get inspired to be Spider-Man? Obviously, because there's going to be a twist, I guess, in his origin story here. And he looks around and he sees, effectively these three Spider-Man fighting what effectively could end up being the Sinister Six. And he gets inspired, like, whoa, that's what I want to be, like, as a post-credit scene, or, right there in the movie, like a little kid who just gets super excited about it and realizes that's what he wants to do. He wants to be a hero as well. That would be a pretty cool twist, wouldn't it? But yeah, I think Miles, it's a consideration. I don't know if they will pull the trigger just yet. I know there's a lot of plans for many more Sony movies, and we've obviously got Morbius coming up. We still have, Venom 3. It pretty much is going to happen. I'm pretty certain of it after like what it did at the box office. So there's a lot of happenings there, and I think that it will be interesting to see if they do decide to pull the trigger on Miles. But yeah, we'll see about it. But I want to know from you guys, and everyone out there, you need to tell me, what do you expect from Spider-Man No Way Home? Is it going to be great? Do you think it's going to be the biggest Spider-Man movie ever? What are your expectations? What happens if you do not see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire? How will you handle it? That I really want to know. So yeah, drop us a comment down below. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, see ya.